Alrighty, Sal. So this is our recap of yesterday's lesson. On the top is your first throw of the day, and on the bottom is your last throw of the day. So I'm going to play them both simultaneously. You can stop, you know the drill, but here they are. Alrighty, so biggest thing what we were working on today, besides kind of just working on our visual approach with when it comes to curveball, was we were really trying to, we were trying to get into our back leg. So there's our first one, and there's our second one, right there. So, couple key things when it comes to pitching. So, first thing here, we're going to see if you do it specifically, what I'm trying to show. So, here, look where the knee is here versus where the leg is here. Biggest thing is we're starting to ride into. Remember, and actually let me clear this real quick. If you remember, in the last video, I talked about how we want to make a little chair here. And the way you want to think about it is that you're riding into this chair rather than just going straight down like that, if that makes any sense. But the big thing that I want you to notice something here. So look here and here, the two biggest things. How do I explain this perfectly? The thing I'm trying to show you right now, and this is why I'm showing you what's a big deal. If you remember last time, we were more so level like this. We were at a 0-degree level. But if you start to notice, we're kind of starting to get a little bit of a tilt. Especially here, I'll let you see at the bottom. See that just little tilt versus the difference of being lateral. Now, of course, when we pitch in game, it's going to be a lot different. Even so, you know what? We're going to just do that. Look at the difference. Look at the difference in tilt versus, actually, let's get shoulders now. If I can have big fingers, so it's very hard. We're about looking like a 7-degree tilt versus that 0 degree, like so. That's going to generate more momentum, especially for us to get over the front side. And if you remember in our last lesson, that was the big thing we want to work on. Now, I talked about it to Enzo, and we talked about it also in your lesson. The biggest key and the biggest physical kind of cue there is taking ass to the plate. So if you notice, we start, look at that, versus we go up to the front. We're not taking that to the plate. All we're doing is we are just throwing it over here, versus this one, we are taking it downhill, and we're starting to ride it out, which is the big thing. So, again, the biggest key for us in order for you to gain velocity, specifically the fact what we talked about is making sure that we're throwing every day, which will be fine because by the time you get to working in high school again, you'll be throwing every day. I mean, shoot, the best part for you is that you have a brother that plays baseball just like you. Find a time, go out in the yard, play some catch. Go in the street, play some catch. I don't know if you have a park nearby, play some catch, but different ways to get each other better. And I think that's a cool thing that both of y'all being brothers and being in baseball together is that you can push each other to be better. So that's something I recommend doing. But again, big thing, when it comes to velocity, so that's going to help, especially long tossing. But number 2 is getting in the legs and building that strength in the legs. So I know you'll continue to work out. You'll be good there. But that's going to be the big thing and what we're going to still try to focus on going forward because the top half of your mechanics is really, really, if we were to, here, let's clear this real quick. If I were to divide you up right here, let me go here. You have very, very solid top mechanics. But then we go down here. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, I'm still finishing up just a little bit, wouldn't that be considered up? And I wouldn't say so, because that's below the line where it starts going into the core right here. So that's what's going to help us, is feeling our core get stronger and being able to get over that front side. That's what's going to help overall. And especially also driving more into our legs and making sure we're trying to get over that. Now, the one thing with our upper half that we need to do is take the head over the front knee there. That's what's going to help us there. But other than that, a lot of it is with the floor. So keep in mind, for you playing at home here, the big thing what we try to work on is building the base. Then we build from the ground up, and now it's okay. Now we make improvements. So we have a solid base for both. The big thing last time we worked on, because you had already a good enough base for us to get working on the upper half. And working on the upper half, now we can get into the detailed part of, okay, now we need to bring butt to the plate, which then is going to translate to us gaining more momentum down the mound, which is also going to help us get more over our front side, which is going to help us pull down more, and which is going to help us get velocity. That's the A to Z formula, or really the A to Z problem. But I'm trying to get you to go from point A to point B to point B to point C per lesson. So by hopefully the end of it, we're at point Z, and we can look back from day one and say, okay, this is where we started. Here's the finished product. Now, the thing about pitching, of course, as you know, is you can't be a finished product, and you always have to strive to get better. So that's the thing I recommend for you, is obviously making sure that we continue to do our dry work. And I'll tell you a great drill that I'm going to try to draw it here. But this is something that an old coach gave me in order to help with this. So I'm going to just see if I could draw here. So just imagine this is me, and this is my leg like this. And he would be like, okay, stand on the chair. Hopefully, of course, get a sturdy chair. And do your Kershaws. Because that's going to help with balance, but more so, that's going to start getting into our backside. Now, if you're asking yourself, well, what's the part about getting into our backside, which I'm glad you asked. This is not necessarily about the Kershaws we do in how am I trying to explain this? These aren't the Kershaws we do in our lessons. So instead of here, actually, I did the wrong way. Instead of, hang on, let's see if I can get it. Instead of here, you're going to be going down like this with your leg. If you want me to demonstrate it more, we could do that next lesson, because I think it's very hard for me to depict it, especially for in a video without explaining it really well, and you've heard the term Kershaw, so you relate it to being your front leg rather than the back leg. But we'll kind of go into that a little more, and I'll just kind of explain to you why that helps. I should have probably stated that before I said Kershaw's, but oh well, sometimes that stuff happens. You have to backtrack and explain it. So hopefully this video helped. Again, big thing we're going to continue to work on is working down the mound, because I think we can honestly still, if you see where we're finishing, I genuinely think, because we were about here last lesson, we're here this lesson, and I think we get just a little more right there. And that's going to really help us, because instead of being here, we're going to be now down here, or close to that, if that makes any sense, which is also going to help us get more downhill action. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions about this video, Sal, and looking forward to the next lesson. Hey, by the way, actually, speaking of which, so I realized it's not this week I'm going to Canada, it's the next week. So if you want to do a lesson this upcoming week, let me know. I'll get you and Enzo in before I head out, and we'll get to work. So take care, have a good rest of your weekend, and just reach out if you have any questions.